What's up, YouTube and other privileged nation states with internet? This is Devtrast coming at you with devlog numero 5, I think it is. That's 5 devlogs down the belt. Notched in the belt. A bunch of notches. We got some devlogs under our belt. So I'm stoked. I'm ready to go. I got my tea here. Check it out. Boom. Oh, that sweet Aquarius cup. Yeah, you know what it is, dude. Fucking friendly, loyal, inventive. Yeah, I'm inventive. Inventing these nuts. Anyways, on this devlog number 5, kind of short this week again, because I'm trying to wrap my recording schedule during my weekdays. I've previously been doing it on my weekends, and that wastes some of my precious time, where I have more free time on the weekends to actually work on the game. So I'm going to use my weekdays as my recording days and try and edit on my weekdays as well. That way on the weekend I can do like really drill into developing the game. But we made some really good progress this week, even though it's only covering the first 6 days. So let's take a look here. Let's get that army, that infinite army of Devtrast, that sweet infinity mirror of me. So boom, minimize that. Pop open the Excel sheet. So what do we got here? All right. So first things first, we recorded devlog number 4. So that was the previous section. And I don't think I showed you guys this, but I played around with the starting position of the float/damage text on the planet, where it goes plus whatever. And I still need to add variables for what the actual value of that is. So I needed to do more research on that. Followed that up by a beautiful 0 day, but luckily only one this week, because I had hashtag fiance blessed got me back on track on some of these days where she's like, hey, don't you want to not have a 0 day today? And I was like, well, no, I want to have a 0 day because then I get to watch Campbell's commercials. But, after getting to think about it and being convinced by my wonderful fiance, I thought, you know what? I think working on the game is a little bit more productive. So we started out with 0 day, which was no bueno, but we picked it up along the rest of the week. And so on the next following day, I edited and upload devlog 4. And so that was on my Saturday. And then I have it upload on Sundays in the morning. So I scheduled that. So that was most all of that day. Then on Sunday, what I did was I attempted to add the goods. And so by adding the goods, let's take a look here. What I was looking to add was this guy right here. So I have the cash, which you get when you click on the planet. That's the only way to earn cash right now. Then when you buy a drill, you can get some ore, and that's 1 per every second. And then every time you click on it, if you have already bought a drill, it'll add +1 per drill that you've bought when you click on the planet as well. And then the parts, so I modified the parts this week a little bit. Let's go into the script for that. Let's go, I think it's auto parts we want to look at. So it still costs 2 ore to make a part, so I didn't change that. But what I did change was it now takes 3 seconds to make a part. And so I think what I'll do is the ore will be very, very quick to make. It'll be 1 to 1. And then for this, for every 2 ore, every 3 seconds, it makes 1 part. And so that was awesome. I really liked that change because then it just added a little bit of variance, and I can do some upgrades later on when the player is playing the game. They will be able to buy upgrades to either speed up that time or, add more parts per second. And I may play with that time and increase it even more. And then that'll also allow me to have maybe like a status bar or something below all of these where, for like the ore every 1 second, it'll fill up, and that'll kind of represent how much ore is being generated. Parts, it'll be every 3 seconds, so you'll be able to visually see the timeline. And so when I first started to try to add the goods, let me look back on my notes here. So yeah, the first day I attempted to add the goods, it broke all the other resources, and it freaked me out because I went into these scripts, and all I did was I just copied all my auto parts scripts, essentially. So auto parts, factory, and global parts. So all these I just copied, and then instead of parts, I put goods. And then the only real difference is instead of taking ore and turning it into parts, what I'm going to do is take the parts and turn it into goods. And so if you think about this is like if you had, some ore, you refined it, you put it into a factory to create, certain modules, and then these modules will eventually be assembled to create goods. And then from the goods state, once you have goods created, then you can sell those back for cash. So it's basically like this long production supply chain of how to get, more cash. And cash is going to be the big key resource that's going to allow you to buy upgrades, buy ships. And I think I'll also throw in some different things like, maybe certain ships require certain ore, because I think later as I make this game more complex, I'll want, different types of ore, different types of parts, and different types of goods. And, you can play with a lot of different variables in that part. But right now for the prototype, all I'm focusing on is the core gameplay loop of ore to parts to goods to cash. And so I'm going to finalize that loop. I just need to do the selling of the goods now. That's what I need to work on. And so taking the goods that I create and then putting into cash. So when I first created this goods, I just copied all these over, and instead of parts, I replaced it with the phrase goods, and there was a couple things that I ran into, like this internal increase. I tried to make it a static, I think, variable because I wanted to access it later. I ended up scrapping that idea because I ran into some problems. I don't remember what those problems were. But when I created the goods, we can go ahead and open up those scripts. So I call them trade hubs because I didn't really know what to call them, but I think I'm going to call them warehouses. I don't really know what to call them because, technically it would be a factory that assembles parts into like things. But I think a warehouse might be appropriate because that's basically like where you store goods. So I'm going to go ahead and say warehouse. And so I'm going to say because you're taking parts from the factory and they're being created into goods, they'll be stored at a warehouse. So I think it makes sense to go drill factory warehouse, and then, a marketplace will be the place that the goods will be sold at. So, but I called it a trade hub in the beginning because I was thinking about the goods being sold and not thinking about the goods being created. So trade hub is just kind of a stand-in name that I won't be using going forward. But, you'll see that, trade hub compared to, is it factory, auto goods, auto parts. Oh yeah. So factory and trade hub, they're identical, right? Global parts and global goods, those are identical. And then the auto goods and auto parts, that's where things are a little different. And all I did was I just played with the increase in time. So it takes 6 seconds right now to make a good, and it takes 4 parts to make a good. So goods are very, very hard to acquire. But I got that working. So when I initially added that and added the goods, I created those scripts and I added them. When I tried to add the goods, so there's a script in here called the purchase log, which was a leftover script from the cookie clicker tutorial. And essentially the purchase log is what determines the auto generation of ore parts and goods. So the purchase log, if you look at this script, we'll pull this up. So it has all of these functions, right? So you can see here, start auto parts, start auto goods, start auto sell. So I just copied all that over from the parts. No biggie, no big deal there. But when I added it into where I needed to add it, so on my button object, you'll see I have the purchase log here. When I added this auto create goods, it's reliant on an empty object that just has the auto goods script in there. So when I added that, for some reason, when I played the game and I started clicking on the planet, nothing was working. Well, some stuff was working, like it would show the display. So let's just start this here. So it would show all these displays appropriately, 000. And as I'd click, the money would go up. That wasn't affected. But as soon as I hit this buy drill, when I'd click on it, it would just stay this white. And then when I'd move the mouse away, nothing would happen seemingly, and it wouldn't create any ore, but the value of this would double even though it wasn't reflected on this button. So I'd click it and then it would cost 20 like it does here, but the button would stay green and it would still say buy drill 10, and my ore wasn't going up automatically. And so I was like, what the heck? And so on this day, in particular, I spent an hour doing that, and I was like, fuck this, I need a break. I'm like, this is stressing me out. I don't want to lose my whole game because I can't figure out how to make fucking goods. It's the same damn script. So no problem there. I slept on it, and then, just really articulated what I needed to do the following day. So I only spent 36 minutes on this day. So I didn't change the script. I was like, there can't be anything wrong with the script. There has to be something wrong with my architecture and my hierarchy that is causing this to fail. And so all that I failed to do was that on this actual button, and this is so obvious in the meantime, but I didn't add it here. And so you can see here, purchase log.start auto goods. This is what I failed to do. And somehow, because I didn't add this, it messed everything up. And, you know, maybe now that I'm thinking back on it, there might've been more to it than that. But this is the key component that I was missing, because as soon as I did this, everything worked flawlessly. So one thing I also did was I adjusted the variables for how spaced out the numbers are that get generated here. So now it looks a lot prettier, gets more spaced out. It doesn't last as long, and it's not all clumped together. I think the next thing that I'm trying to do is I want to have the start position different than in the center here. And so I've seen a couple different techniques on how to handle it. And I haven't implemented any because some of it is still a little bit over my head as far as C# coding goes. So I may, seek some help on that, but it's working exactly as I want. One thing I also fixed in this while I was doing this, and I'll show you guys, I'll let you guys see the loop here too, when I actually buy factories and or in warehouses and stuff. But, so now you'll see the ore, it'll go up by 1 per second. The parts, every 3 seconds, it will subtract 2 ore in order to make a part. And then once the parts gets to 4, it'll subtract the parts there and go into 1 good. So that'll just keep going in the background. Let's buy another drill in order to cover the losses there. So I may need another one too, actually. This is awesome, and I'm really happy about this. So yeah, I need to cover the starting position, and I also need to add each of these variables so that like when this ore is going up, I want it to say, +2, +2, +2, or +3 or +4, however many drills I have operational, and keep an addition with the click. So there's numbers just popping off this planet all the time. And then parts, I'll want to have that go up by 1 whenever it creates a part. And then same with goods, and those will all be, certain colors. One of the colors that I choose here. So green will be cash. I think orange will be ore, gray will be parts, and then blue will be goods. And I might play with that. I don't know. It just depends on the aesthetic that I choose here. So I'm really happy with this, and this core stuff I feel like is a really big accomplishment to get done, because this was kind of a burden on me just mentally, not having this completed. So having this done and now just being able to make the goods turn into cash, that'll be super easy. And then we can start doing the unexplored space, which when I can get that done and have stuff starting to add to the home screen, then we'll be able to just push out a prototype, get people to start playing this game, give me some feedback, and we can start improving on it and start working towards a final product. So really stoked about that. One thing I added down here too is I finally figured out what I need to put down here. Upgrades, pretty obvious as well. This will be stuff where it'll increase, the amount of ore per second or the amount of parts per second, or decrease the time it takes to make parts, yada, yada. And fleet will be different ships. And so ships are gonna, perform different functions. And I think that primarily be used in space, but maybe I'll have some specific ships that you'll keep on the home screen that'll, be like orbiting one of these planets or your founder's planet, performing specific functions. Shipyard, will be like where you buy ships or make ships. Upgrades, again, that is just going to be upgrades for all the different components. Blueprints will be like blueprints for new ships, and I want to have stuff where when you're exploring space, some of the loot you'll get, you might be able to get a blueprint, right? And that'll be like a rarity will be associated with that blueprint, and the rarity will be how strong that is, that the thing you want to build. So maybe the blueprint will be something that you could add to the home screen that you could build. Maybe it'll be a type of ship, maybe it'll be I don't know, like a consumable that you can use while exploring space, or like give you a boost for 24 hours. I don't know. There's a lot I can do with the blueprints. And then shop will be stuff like cosmetics, boosters, like actual like microtransaction stuff that will be, I'll save that for last. I'm not really too focused on that aspect of it, but That's all I got for this week. So thank you for joining me, and I will see you next Sunday. I hope you guys are enjoying this series. I appreciate all the feedback you guys give me. I see all your guys' comments. They're hilarious. So thank you very much. Have a great day, great week, and enjoy your free nation state of internet. Have a good one.